If you were sitting here last week, you would be underwater. This is what used to be a parking lot. You could see where the road ends right here. It's essentially just a lake. You can even see this speed limit sign that's kind of being submerged under these floodwaters that are coming as an overflow of the Ohio River. We're just minutes away from seeing Minnesota Governor Tim Walz step off the plane at the Muhammad Ali International Airport. I'm going to step aside just so you could see right where he'll touch ground. This is a real turning point between Baffert and Churchill Downs because of that suspension. And Baffert tells reporters that he's excited for his future with Churchill Downs. Right now, cannabis is a Schedule I drug. That puts it in the same category as LSD and heroin. So it's not until that changes to when we'll see ripple effects in some of these state institutions like universities. This afternoon's event was all about his legacy. So we heard him speak with humility. There was a sense that his energy was more relaxed, and we heard him tell this underdog story of the Republican Party's roots in Kentucky. Both sides agree that this is one of the most highly anticipated races on the ballot, but it's not about a person, it's about a question. Now, this is exactly what we expect at this point in the legislative session. We now zero in on House Bill 495. That's on conversion therapy. It was the first veto to be overturned in the House today. It happened on I-65 near Henryville. Again, we don't know the victim's condition, but we do know how it all escalated. Yeah, Doug, right now there's just a slight sprinkle at the fairgrounds, but you could see behind me there really is a lot of road congestion as fans are exiting day one. Tomorrow, however, it's the real expected downpour. I think this is an example of the fire marshal doing his job. It was a matter of hours after that email was sent to the fire marshal showing up at Streetery and having to take action, shutting it down. Senator Paul has been a major proponent for Yes on 2. He's one of those big political heavy hitters in the state that have taken a clear stance on the amendment.
All of us just left, you know, we'll die here. That river can have us.
The Ohio River swelling over the banks in West Point, right on the border of Jefferson and Hardin County.
People will give up, sell out to FEMA. When I first was down here, I bet there was 30 houses on this street. Now I think there's 8.
That's where we met Roger Workman, who's owned 2 homes on Dixie Highway since 1992. Floodwater rising up and into homes over the years has caused his street to empty out. But not him.
For the longest portion of it until it starts coming up. And it's exciting in a way, you know, you just wonder, is it going to get you? Is it not going to get you?
MSD crews are working around the clock to protect communities like Rogers. Flood pumps roaring at the Pond Creek station, which backs up to Fort Knox.
If this station wasn't here, you know, it would be widespread flooding.
It's one of 11 MSD stations actively keeping floodwater at bay, and a lot of it, 1.8 billion gallons since Monday.
Without the levee system and the pump stations, you'd be back at, you know, a possible 37 flood.
MSD fired up the Pond Creek flood pump station to keep water out of Fairdale, Fern Creek, PRP, and the surrounding areas.
When the river's not rising, these stations sit idle. But once the river starts coming up is when we initiate our flood event. We'll start closing gates that lets the rainwater out of the city.
The Sky 11 drone flying over the station, first built in 1989. It was last needed in 2021. Now in action, surrounded by a scene of snowy hills.
I'll look back and think, well, it could have been worse. Could have been a whole lot worse. You know, we dodged a bullet on really this event.
Now, waiting for the crest and then the cleanup. In Louisville, Alexandra Goldberg, WHAS 11 on your side. Doug, as you can imagine, no on 2 groups are celebrating this outcome, while supporters of the amendment say the fight isn't over. According to live results, every county in Kentucky swung towards the no vote. Now looking at percentages, about 2/3 of Kentucky voters rejected Amendment 2. Kentucky voters rejected Amendment 2.
I know that our message has resonated, our message that public funds belong to public schools.
Will Powers of the Kentucky Student Voice team says the amendment was never popular in Kentucky, and this vote proved it.
I have heard plenty of times that our public schools are not meeting the needs of our students. I have heard plenty of times that we need to do more to increase opportunity for every student. But you know what I have never heard? That the answer to that is a voucher program.
Christy Mudd, a teacher in Jefferson County, celebrating at a No on 2 watch party in New Loop.
It just really shows that we truly are supported. Our communities do support public schools, and they are advocates for public education.
Downtown at the Henry Clay Theater.
I just think what's most important is just giving the parents the right, let them choose what's best for their children. I think that's what's most important, less government and, more on the parents.
Louisville's GOP conceded.
It's a tragedy for our kids, honestly. For our parents to be able to have a choice in the schools that they go to and to be able to get the different education components that they need.
Vice Chair of the Jefferson County GOP, Charlie Bell, says the fight will continue, but the messaging has to change.
I believe that there was a fear instilled that the public school system would be bankrupt.
For now, Kentucky's constitution will remain unchanged, solidifying public dollars for public schools only. Well, it was one of the largest drivers to the polls, and now Kentuckians have answers about the future of public and private education. Live in the studio and with photojournalist Alyssa Newton, Alexandra Goldberg, WHAS 11 Night Team on your side. Doug?